Okay, and we are live. How is everyone? Kemp and I are still on vacation. We have one last glorious day here. I believe today on today's agenda is SeaWorld. So we did the whole park circuit here in Orlando. We went to Disney, we went to Universal, and we went to SeaWorld. And of course, I always like to let you guys know how I did all of that because I didn't pay for any of those tickets, right? So we'll talk about that for a few seconds, and then I'm going to go into the topic that I really want to talk about for travel training today. Kemp will be joining us on the in a few. So for the time being, wow, Orlando is an awesome place. You have got to come down here and just do it again. If you came as a child, it's changed. That's all I can say. I came to Disney World probably the first time back in the 70s, and wow, it's changed tremendously. I felt like a kid all over again. I had to get my ears because that was a big deal because didn't get my ears when I was a little girl because they ran out. Who does that? But anyway, they ran out of ears. So that was my first order of business was to get some Mickey Mouse ears. I did that. And then the day after that, we went over to Universal Park, Universal Studios, another amazing place. And how I got these tickets, just so you know, I did my certifications for all three of those properties. So, how many of you, and just type a one in the chat box, are Disney certified? How many of you are Disney certified? Okay. So Disney certification is going to take you a minute but it is well worth it. If I don't do anything else, I got my money's worth on this last week. It was amazing. You get a hopper pass, which pretty much lets you go to all four of the parks. And honestly, there's not enough time in one day to go to all four of the parks and experience everything that you need to experience. But I'm trying to think, which park did we go to? We went to Hollywood Studios. We got a late start, and but what we saw in those hours that we were in Hollywood Studios, it was amazing. And the people that I got to meet, and I mean, because when you go on vacation, you're going to meet other people that are on vacation. And I would just say, just the atmosphere in Disney is just different. It was nice to see that people with their children and even with the strollers, you could park your strollers outside of the attractions. And people just had their strollers there with the diaper bags and different things. And you park your stuff there, nobody's bothering it. I mean, that's just refreshing to be able to go out somewhere and kind of leave your things like that and not worry about it. After I took the Disney training, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get around to using it one day. I wish I had used it. I hadn't waited so long to use it. I probably got Disney certified back in 2014, and this was my first time actually getting to the park. Once you do your certification, you actually can qualify for one ticket. I believe you can apply for one ticket a season or a yearly. And the only thing about this, folks, is when you apply for these park tickets, they typically like 2 weeks notice. So you're going to have to plan it. And they have a window of time that once you ask for it or it's granted, you can't go back and reschedule it. So like your plans have to be definite pretty much. And so I told them that I was coming last week. And the good thing was the ticket was valid for 2 weeks. So if something did come up and I didn't get here, I got here 3 or 4 days late. That's one thing. But you have 2 weeks in which you can pick up a 14-day window, which you can pick up your ticket and you're going to go to the will call. And it was very seamless. It was it just was wonderful. I can't stop saying enough about it. But Disney also has other benefits that we as travel agents get to use. So can everyone hear me? Can you type 1 in the chat box if you can hear me? Oh, okay. So Tommy, you might need to check your connection. Just checking. So another benefit that was back there that I check from time to time, you all know I'm a huge cruiser. So the cruise rates for the travel agents, oh my God, there were a couple of last minute Disney cruises back there. I think there was one leaving out of LAX, out of Los Angeles. And that thing was I'm not kidding you, it was $25 a day for an inside cabin on a 3-day cruise. And you might say, 3-day cruise, that's not a long thing, but to be able to go for $25 a day for an inside cabin, do y'all know how quick I would have been on that cruise if it wasn't all the way in California? But I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I go back there once monthly and just to check to see what the cruise rates are back there, because that's definitely one on my to-do list, because you know we don't have a bucket list anymore, not at these prices. So definitely check on you know the park tickets and take advantage of them. The other park that I went to was Universal Studios. I did that particular certification. It probably took me an hour, if that. And that ticket I liked even better than the Disney ticket because it was a 3-day ticket. And you had access to all 3 parks. So that would have been Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. And it was excellent. I like that ticket better because you have 3 days and you have access to all 3 parks all 3 days. So again, just take your time, plan it out, plan your trip out, and you can make the most of it. Because I can tell you, next year I will be coming to Orlando for a week to do this all over again. And today I will be using my SeaWorld ticket. And hold on just a second, I'm gonna go get it and tell you all of the different parks that are affiliated with SeaWorld. So I did my SeaWorld training, and these are my SeaWorld tickets. So you actually see that I got SeaWorld tickets. I got 2. And oh, that's another thing. With Disney and Universal, when you do your certification, you only get a ticket for you. You just get the 1 ticket. SeaWorld gave me 2 tickets. So this is actually valid for admission to Park of Choice. That sounds interesting already. So I get to go to this ticket. 1 ticket could get me into Busch Gardens in Tampa, Adventure Island Tampa, SeaWorld Orlando, Aquatica Orlando, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Water Country USA Williamsburg, Sesame Place, and Langhorne, and that's right outside of Philadelphia for my Philly crew. SeaWorld in San Antonio, Aquatica in San Antonio, SeaWorld in San Diego, or Aquatica in San Diego. And on this ticket, it says it expires 18 months from the date, and it has a date on here of February the 14th. But these tickets I actually got when I did a live SeaWorld training, and I believe I attended this back in I'm gonna say it was earlier this year, so maybe February or March. I actually got these tickets, so we will be using these tickets today. And the other thing about SeaWorld, if you have a CLIA card, so let's say you got your 2 free tickets, but okay, you have a family of 4 or 5 or however large your family is. If you have a CLIA card, which all of you should have, you can get discounted. You can get more discounted tickets for the rest of your party. And if you're going like every day, because some of these parks you have to go back to a couple of days in a row to just see everything you want to see, they will continue to give you discounted entry as a travel agent. So out of the 3 parks, I think that SeaWorld and this ticket is probably gives you the most options. So that's just a little something I wanted to let you guys know, because I know you're probably thinking, when are you coming back after I finish site inspecting all of these parks? So what I would love to talk to you about today is, and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, right before I went on vacation on another call, but I want to talk to you about, as travel agents, you know, what keeps us up at night. If you book travel, and what is the one thing that you're nervous about, or what are some of the things that keep you up at night when it comes to your clients? If you have a client that's traveling. Okay, client having issues. That's a good one, April, while traveling. Anyone else? So when I think about the things that I lose sleep over, probably, like you said, April, that's going to be a big one. Clients having issues while traveling. When I have a group that's traveling, and it doesn't even have to be a group, it could just be the single client. When I know that, oh my God, my clients are going away tomorrow, it's like I go into worry mode, you know. And I won't necessarily say worry mode, but I'm just on heightened alert. You know, I make sure that, you know, and you try to think of everything. And what I do, for starters, is I like to do a walkthrough with my clients before they leave, sometime that week that they're traveling, and I walk through the trip. I do that even before I talk to them. I walk myself through the trip just to make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. And then I'll talk to them and walk them through the trip. And typically when I do that, maybe something that I did forget will come up. Exactly. Did I cover everything? And there have been times that I forgot to do the transfers. Okay, and it came out then, and you know, the client might say, well, how am I getting to the ship or something like that? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad we did this. And so you sometimes, a lot of times when you had this conversation, it'll spark things that maybe you, the agent, forgot. Sometimes it'll spark things that the client didn't think of, or you'll get those last minute questions. Or if it's like, for example, if it's somebody that's going first time cruiser, then you might find out that your client isn't as confident. They might be a little nervous. So this is a good time to have a good pep talk with them and let them know what they can expect. If you have checklists, like I have checklists that I will send for, you know, tips for first time cruisers, things you should pack. And these I have actually uploaded into the Extreme Travel group. If you go into the Facebook group and click on files, you will find a lot of helpful information as it comes across my desk from time to time. I will upload those things into the Facebook group that we ask the travel questions. There's a lot of good stuff back there. So a checklist, you can give somebody a checklist to go through different things. And even if you can't think of where to find it, most of the vendors, if you go into their FAQs or commonly asked questions, you will see that they'll have something like that, a little checklist or hot list to give clients on things that they should take on their trip, things that they should pack, different questions, last minute questions that you should ask. Let's see, Malika, let's see. I'm just reading a couple of your statements here. Okay, excursions. That's a good one, especially when you're doing a land trip and or a cruise. Give them a link to the excursions and let them pick. I like to I make my suggestions, but I like to give everybody the information and let them go through it at their leisure because this is their trip and I want them to take responsibility for their trip. I just don't want it to be like, okay, you should do this, and that because then it's my trip. It's your trip. I want you to feel like you are picking things that you want to do. I will make a suggestion here or there, but for example, if you're sending someone on a cruise, you're sending them on a Carnival cruise, and sometimes we're not even sure of the excursions. Go on to carnival.com, type in the name of the ship that your client is going on, and then it'll tell you about the itinerary. It'll have the excursions tab, and you can just copy and paste that address from that web page and just send it to them and say, here, look at, these are all of the excursions that you could go on that pertain to your particular cruise. And another thing, if it's a group, what I like to do is I like to make a Facebook group for that cruise. I just did it for the LCA cruise, but I do this for all of my group cruises. I appoint the group leader, whoever my contact person is, and that's one of the services that I offer to my groups is that I will set you up a Facebook group, create some excitement for your cruise. I'll post pictures of the insides of the rooms. I'll talk about the itineraries. I just try to keep the chatter going about the trip, keep the excitement going. Maybe the week of the trip, I'll talk to them about the weather, and hopefully it's not during hurricane season, but I'll talk to them about the weather. Oh, ladies, you're getting ready for your girls' getaway in Jamaica. It's 80, the weather in Jamaica has been 80 degrees this week or whatever. If I see stuff about sales, clearance sales or anything, because us women, we got to go do our last minute shopping when we're going on these trips. So anything helpful, little tips or travel gadgets, anything that I think that might pique somebody's interest, I post it in the Facebook group and just keep everybody buzzing and in anticipation of their upcoming travel. So that's one thing. Now, another thing that we do have to talk about, and especially this time of year, is the weather and travel insurance. So what happens when your client, let's say they're delayed, they have a weather delay, because that's a real possibility, especially during hurricane season. So what happens? If I know that I am planning a trip for somebody and they're traveling, especially in the August, October time frame, August, September, October, it's almost a must. When I do the quote, it is a must to talk about the travel insurance. And I know sometimes we're a little skittish or hesitant about adding travel insurance to the quote because we think that, oh, that's going to drive the price up on a quote, especially if you're trying to stay in a budget. So a couple of things that I do when I do my quotes is, let's say if somebody tells me they want to take a cruise and they're looking to spend $600 or $700 per person, that's a pretty reasonable rate. Then when I price the cruise out, I go by the amount of the cruise fare and the port taxes and fees. So then when I add the insurance on, that's extra, but how I kind of talk or make them feel better about the insurance, I'll say something like, wow, are you going to let, like, I think the cruise that I just did, I'll say the insurance was, if you were in a balcony, I'm going to say the insurance was about $90. So when I'm talking them through the quote, And they'll say, oh, the insurance is $90. I don't need that. I'm definitely going. So I will talk to them and I would say, during that time of year, there's always possibility that the weather might be bad, or sometimes things come up. It doesn't have to be the weather per se, but are you going to let $90 be the reason that I have to tell you you're not getting your money back? And I will definitely phrase it that way. Are you going to let $90 be the reason that I'm going to have to say, no, you are not getting your money back? When someone is paying $700, $800, $900 a person, or even if they're paying $200 or $300 a person, I don't like, me personally, I don't like having to tell my clients they're not getting their money back. That's not a good conversation. Let's just be perfectly transparent. Nobody likes to have to do that. So you just have to get your insurance conversation down packed. And that's basically what I tell them, even if it's just flights. I mean, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to spend money and it just goes out the window. None of us have money to burn. Our clients don't either. So you have to be very comfortable talking to them about insurance. Is plain as simple. One moment. Sorry about that. They were trying to put me out. I have late checkout anyway. So the insurance conversation, man, I tell you, and every time we do this LCA cruise, for example, we have ducked 3 hurricanes 3 years in a row. And if anybody is in the training this morning, you can type that in the box. You know for a fact. It's not an LCA cruise if there isn't a hurricane. But honestly, nobody wants to have that conversation with their clients. And you should familiarize yourself with the actual process and what they have to do. So, for example, because I book so many cruises, I pretty much have the cruise process down. If you have to make a claim for the travel insurance, with Carnival, for example, their travel insurance, or most cruise lines, their travel insurance is handled third party. So basically, what you're doing, and I love the way that they do this because they take the travel agent out of it. So with Carnival, you actually give them a link or the web address to the insurance company. You can give them the web address, you can give them the 800 number, and pretty much you're also providing them with a copy of their cabin confirmation. And the reason why you're giving them the cabin confirmation, because it has the name of the ship, it has the itinerary, it has all of the questions that the insurance company is going to ask them. And the client is now dealing directly with the insurance company. So at that point, they have to prove to the insurance company why they weren't able to make the cruise. So typically, if it's weather related, that's kind of an easy thing. That's a given. But you have 2 types of travel insurance. You should know that. You have you have like a cancel for no reason, which is always going to be your more expensive insurance, but that's the one that gives them the better coverage. And then you have the regular insurance where it's canceled for approved reasons. And I'll just real quickly tell you what the difference is. So cancel for any reason, that would be if, let's say, Eileen, if I was going to book you on a cruise, okay, and on Monday you found out the hurricane is coming to St. Vincent. So this is a fictional thing, but I'm just using this as an example. So the cruise is going to leave on Thursday, but Monday morning you wake up and you're not feeling at all happy, or you're feeling nervous because you think, okay, they're predicting that the hurricane is coming, and you fear for your safety, I mean, because some people, I mean, people do, this is real, and you want to cancel the cruise. So at that point, if you have purchased the cancel for any reason, then my conversation will be, well, Miss Eileen, I'm sorry that you won't be able to make the cruise. However, because you want to cancel and you paid all of your money and you've done everything that you were supposed to do, then at that point you are entitled to get all of your money back minus the cost of the insurance. Minus the cost of the insurance. So, and that's good because that means that the money will be refunded back to you in the form of payment that you made to pay for it. So if you put it on your Visa card, it's going to be returned back to that same Visa card. Or if it was an American Express card, it'll go back to that same American Express card. And that's also good to let your clients know, because sometimes clients may pay with more than one card, and when they pay with more than one card, they get multiple refunds. That's their money is refunded in that same way too. So if they pay with this person's card, and that person's card, then the refunds are going to be spread out too. So that's always good to let your clients know. Let's see, what else? Another example is I had someone book a cruise, and they waited last minute to book the cruise, which wasn't a problem. However, when I asked them if they wanted the travel insurance, they said, no, I'm not going to get the travel insurance because I'm definitely going. The cruise is just 2 weeks away. And okay, you might say, okay, that sounds reasonable to me. I mean, I can't make anybody buy travel insurance. But do you know, as luck would have it, this particular client got the job offer of a lifetime. She was trying to get a job with the state. And for any of you have applied for like a government job, a lot of times they put you on a waiting list and it's a whole process. So she probably applied for the job like months and months and months ago, and they had just never gotten back to her. Do you know they literally got back to her like the week of the cruise, and they told her, oh, we're so glad, we're going to hire you. Training starts September the 16th, which was the first day of the cruise. So she had to come back to me and cancel the cruise. But because it was only 2 weeks left, her money, she was in full penalty phase, meaning that she lost her entire money. And it would have been a different story had she taken the travel insurance. I don't like having those conversations with people. I really don't. And I'm sure you don't. I mean, sometimes I'm even nervous if I have to call a client and give them bad news like that. So just, to protect yourselves, always have the travel insurance conversation with people. Yes, Wesley, shit happens. That's a good one. Let's see if Mr. Kemp has joined us yet. I don't see that he has, I think. Kemp, are you there? Kemp, are you there? There you are. Okay. So Kemp is still in Mickey Mouse phase over there. So we were just talking about some of the inevitable things that happen during travel that we as agents have to be, mindful of. It's not the most glamorous part of our job, but it's something that you need to be prepared to talk about nonetheless. And so I'm going to turn everything back over to National Diamond, Mr. Kemp Satchel, live to us from Orlando. Take it away, sir.
Can you give me like 5 minutes? Can you give me like 5 more minutes?
5 more minutes?
5 more minutes. That's it. Just 5.
Okay.
Just 5. That'll help. That'll help a lot.
All right. Not a problem. Not a problem. So I'll put you back on mute. All right. So I'm trying to think of what else comes up that, just gives us cause for pause. So Denise, you have a question. Go ahead and type it while I'm thinking of what I was getting ready to say. So I think Ernie had a real good example probably just before I left. And I think this might have been weather related, but she had a client. Oh, the second type of travel insurance. Okay. So let me finish that. So you have the cancel for any reason. So that's the one. The second type is cancel for approved reasons. And each vendor tells you what their approved reasons are. And that's the tricky thing with travel insurance. Carnival's travel insurance may be one way. FunJet's travel insurance may be another way. Norwegian's travel insurance will be a third way. So you have to familiarize yourself or call the vendor and ask them. So a typical approved reason, if we're talking about a cruise, an approved reason would be weather, would be health. Like if I had a client where the husband had a heart attack the week before the cruise, so that was a covered reason. They just had to submit some medical documentation. Death of a spouse or someone, I had that happen to somebody, which obviously you just submit some documentation. They'll give you the list of what covered reasons are. And when it's a covered reason, typically with Carnival, they will, the first thing they do is refund your port taxes and fees because you obviously didn't go on a cruise, so they give you that money back to your card. And the rest of your cruise fare, minus the cost of insurance, will be given back to you in the form of a future cruise credit. So you're not getting literal money back for that. You're getting a future cruise credit, which is typically good anywhere for 18 to 24 months. So, and that's the difference between any reason and an approved reason. Now, let's say you have the insurance and you got the latter one, but let's say your reason isn't an approved reason. So at that point, and each vendor is different, like with Carnival, you will get refunded up to 75% of what you paid minus the cost of the insurance, and that will also be given back to you in the form of a future cruise credit. So the one thing that I suggest to people, let's say that didn't take the insurance, and I tell them, you have to make it to the ship. You just have to make it to the ship. The one thing that you can hope for if the cruise line cancels the actual cruise, because if they cancel the cruise instead of you just not showing up, then they automatically refund everybody their money. So I'll say that again. The best thing a person can do that didn't take the insurance is just make sure that they try to get to that cruise by all means necessary. And when that happens, if Carnival says, you know what, because all cruise lines will do this, if they determine that, you know what, it is just too dangerous to open the port and we're canceling this particular sailing, they automatically give the money back. They automatically give you your money back on your card. So that's, in the perfect world, that's what you want to happen. You want the cruise line to cancel the cruise. You don't want to cancel. So anyway, let's see, what's next? Malika, that's a good example. You have a client in the military, and thank goodness she got the insurance because she found out a few months before her trip that she'd have a test on the day. Okay, in military, that's an approved reason with most insurance carriers, military deployment or something like that, because you get official papers for that. Usually, as soon as you say military, everybody be like, okay, and they'll get a money back. That's a good example, Malika. So that's pretty much, those are the two different types of insurance. So let's see. Denise, you said talk about what the conversation you have with the cruise rep when planning. So, you know, again, when I'm talking to my client about insurance, especially with the cruise, well, any trip, I walk them through exactly what their gross total of the trip is. And then I break that all out for them. And typically, you know, with a lot of our more educated clients, they know that we're going to try and sell them the insurance. And some people, believe it or not, actually feel like, you know, we're only offering insurance because we get paid to offer them insurance. Honestly, I don't care if you take the insurance or not, but I do care if I have to have that conversation with you. And again, I don't like have to tell somebody that they're going to lose their money. So I have it for them just because your vacation is an investment. And that's what I tell them. This $600 or this $800 or whatever it is, that's an investment for you. And why wouldn't you protect your investment? So, does anybody have any questions for me, or anything that you could think of that I didn't cover or to add? I think I was trying to tell you guys about Ernie's experience. So I think she had a lady, due to the weather, her flights got rerouted. And she didn't, I didn't follow up with her because I've been on my cruise to find out what her what the resolution was. But before we left, I know that typically when you have a problem like that, I always find out of which you should already know because you made the booking. But I'm going to contact the airlines because this young lady or this client got rerouted. Her flights got rerouted. And, you know, I will call the airline and try to get information from the airline. But at the end of the day, you can also call the vendor that you booked the trip through and find out. So I want to say that this particular client that Ernie had, she was flying into Punta Cana, but because of weather and delays, they actually flew her into Puerto Plata, and which is like an hour and a half north of Punta Cana by car. So I know that there was an issue of who is going to get them from point A to point B, because obviously the people in Punta Cana was expecting a client to arrive in Punta Cana, the hotel transfer people, in which case I believe it was Amstar. So when I talked to Ernie right before I got on the ship, and Ernie, if you're on a call, I don't see you making a comment, so she might not be on a call. But where I left it with her was to just call Amstar and to ask what happens when your clients get rerouted like that. So, and yes, Denise, you do get commission off of selling insurance. And not only do you get commission from selling insurance, in some cases, your commission is protected. So let's say if I book a cruise and somebody takes the cruise, this happened, let's see, when did this happen? I think I had somebody last year. I probably lost 3 or 4 bookings during hurricane season last year. But I remember with this one booking, it was a cruise, and the young lady did take the insurance. And although she didn't go on the cruise because it was Carnival canceled the cruise, but I still got my commission. So that's another reason. Not only does it protect your client, it can possibly protect you for making commission. Now, you may not in all cases get 100% of your commission, but you may just get commission for just selling the actual travel insurance. But if you're trying to find out how much you're making commission on the actual insurance, when you do the quote, you can do the quote without the insurance, and then you can go back and do the quote and add the insurance in, and you'll literally see the difference in your insurance. And then another reason why you want to sell the insurance, with some vendors, they give you a lower deposit. Like with FunJet, they will actually give your client a lower deposit when you book the insurance. And I'm sure some of you have probably seen that as well. So we have a question from David. If you can type it in really quick. What is the deadline or time limit for making claims on the insurance? That varies vendor to vendor. And again, that's something that you just call the vendor and ask. And I know with Carnival, they will direct you to the actual insurance company, and you just call them and ask them how long does the client have to fill out the information or to submit the information. You obviously want to do this on a timely basis because it is time sensitive. If someone joins, do they have to complete XTU before booking for themselves? Well, if you book on your Priceline website, you don't necessarily have to complete your XTU to do that. Or if you have joined, you can also use Traveris Go and book a trip through Traveris Go. So Denise, I'm gonna ask, have you filed the claim yet? I mean, because if it was last year, I would think. I mean, I probably would have done that right away, but I'm sure you had a good reason why you did. But I can work with you on that, sideline, Denise. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, Denise, we'll follow up. Well, that's something I'll talk to you about during the week, and I'll get some more information for you too, because I know there is a time frame. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head. Does anyone else have any travel questions? It doesn't necessarily have to be an insurance question, but we're going to give Kemp a little bit more time to get on the call. Oh, there you are now.
Me.
Okay. Wait a minute. I'm clicking the button. Are you there? Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear from Apple Land. Take it away.
Well, actually, you know what? For some reason, I actually happen to be over here at the Fairfield and the SeaWorld, right? In fact, I'm sitting here looking at a roller coaster right now. And I am at the wrong one. But it's okay, because it's a good view. And I'm just going to sit here and park for a minute. And first and foremost, say, well, hello, creators of wealth. I am excited. Hopefully you are as well. Can y'all hear me well, Glenn?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Awesome, sir.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to turn this car off, and I'm going to be over you up because we get ready to have a lot of fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, Lynn, let's thank Lynn for the travel agent that she is, the first lady that she is, the lady, my lady, and at the end of the day, I am really excited about just the information you were just sharing because, again, how many of you would actually agree that what Lynn what she just shared with you is the value of actually having insurance? And the more she explained it, the more valuable it became. Does that make sense to anybody? The more valuable it becomes. So when you're actually selling, it only tells me that all Lynn did today was give us information to solidify why one should have insurance. Yes or yes. And not only is the insurance for for them, but the insurance is also for you as that travel agent, because that becomes a very difficult conversation when you actually have to tell a client, guess what? You get nothing back because you didn't have any insurance, but you know who's really responsible for that? You, the travel agent, helping someone when you ask them, Are you sure you don't want to get insurance? Let me help you understand what this will do for you. And while she's saying that, it allows them to then feel and understand the value of not having it. Matter of fact, you make it almost impossible for them to say no to the insurance. Does that make sense? Like the way she just said it, it would be almost impossible. It's no longer about the money. It's about the understanding of what you get. Does that make sense? So again, when we start talking about, you get what you get and all of that stuff, at the end of the day, it says, in all thy getting, and all thy getting, I'm going to just be throwing this one to the roof. And all thy getting, get what? Understanding, right? That way you'll understand why it is important. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know that me and Lynn have actually been on vacation probably for the last, how many days, Lynn?
I think it's like we're up to 11 or 12 days now.
I didn't hear you. Hold on. Okay, Lynn, speak.
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you now, yes.
So, yeah.
That's be said forever.
Like 11 or 12 days.
Yes. Now, let me share with you why I say this, of the importance. Now, y'all know I've been with this company for at least going on 12 years, right? 12 years. The reason why I have been a part of this awesome Travaris company is because of its value and what it actually allows you to get. And a lot of us really do not understand it until we actually use it. Would y'all agree with me right now? So it seems like, again, in all thy getting. Now, prior, about 4 years ago, I was actually in the company prior to Lynn and I getting together, and I did some traveling. But Lord knows I did not do as much traveling as I'm doing today, simply because of now understanding the value of what I had. Yes or yes? So again, how did we get the value? Is because, when you really start to understand the value, when you get to a park, right, that literally we were able to attend that park, like this park behind me right now. Can y'all see that park behind me right now? Y'all see that roller coaster going up, Lynn? Lynn,
yes.
You see that roller coaster? You see that roller coaster coming down right now? This is not a commercial. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, so how much is it getting ready to cost us to go in that park?
That would be free 99.
Free, ladies and gentlemen, free. Now let me ask you a question. If somebody quit, do you think I'm gonna give up my free benefits? If somebody decides to stop, do you think I'm going to give up my free benefits? Now, we went to Disney, Universal Studio. Lynn, talk to me. Stop texting and talk to me right now. Tell me, I can see you texting. I can see it. Don't even worry about it. See, y'all think I got to be in the audience to notice what's going on. I can pay attention. Y'all leave Lynn alone right now and stop asking all these questions that y'all could have asked her before she got off this call. Now, I'm on the call. I need your undivided attention. So at the end of the day, Lynn, let me ask you a question. How much did it cost us to go into you? Now, this is the one that really got me, because Lynn went on and took the test for herself, right? So because she was able to get it for herself, and Mr. Satchel and his lazy behind decided not to go and take the test, Lynn wound up going there for free 99. Now, how much did that cost me?
Well, It
Tell the truth, Shane Devil.
okay, all right. So let's see. Disney, I want to say, because they charged you up. What was it like $130 for a 1 day hopper? They gave you
One 139 I had to actually pay. Now this is the deal. I've never had this experience before. Because at the end of the day, I would always say, you know what, it don't matter, I got money, I'll go ahead and pay. But you don't know what when the experience really set me free? When you have somebody standing right next to you that literally all she did was take the certification and she got a paper they let her in for free. They gave her the card pass. And then they took my card and took that $130. And you know, there's a reason. Because now has anybody ever said, wow, now I understand the value of this business based on things that you experience, ladies and gentlemen. Am I helping somebody today? This is where it comes into value. Now, watch when I talk to the next joker about this opportunity, you can best believe when I say this. Now, right now, Lynn, I need you to do me a favor.
yeah.
I want you to go to the back of that door and show them what we actually paid. And I want you to show them on the back of the door the rack rate of the room we're staying in right now. Come on.
Oh, okay. I'll see how.
Oh, you can't take the computer. No, that's all right. You would have to go on your phone. Can you get it over here? No.
I mean, yeah, I could do that. Just keep talking for a second.
All right. So here, ladies and gentlemen, what my job is to do is to actually help you understand this opportunity called network marketing, Travaris Go, vacations, and the sacrifices that your owners have made to make it possible for this opportunity. There were some individuals. Can you get over there now? Oh no.
No, I'm done.
There's some people, watch this, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, that went on a cruise with us today or this week. And after that experience, they're literally saying, oh my God, when I get back, you can best believe I'm going to tell the world about this experience that I have just had. Am I making sense? When you see families coming together because of an opportunity like this, am I making sense? Because of some of the people that you have the opportunity to meet. You see, this is you can't tell me that that is not worth $174.95. You cannot tell Kemp Satchel that it's not worth the relationships. You cannot tell me that it is not worth the idea of being able to save somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had the opportunity, as you were heard last week, we talked about a timeshare that we were able to stay in. We actually looked at it, but then now I would say this. If you own a timeshare. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The value of a timeshare today is unlike no other, especially if you use the timeshare. Now, that's how I can talk about the ignorance. Listen to what I just said, of one who speaks. Because when he opens his mouth, he has no idea the value of a timeshare. He has no idea. Now, if you take somebody that literally stay in places, now, yeah, you can stay in a damn dump. I mean, a dang dump. You can stay in a Motel 6. Sure you can. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to tell me somebody would not understand the value. I'm going to share this with you just by the number of people I will be signing up over the next week. I guarantee you. Why? Because my passion and level of understanding has gone to a totally different environment. Am I making sense to anybody? Like the way I speak, my posture right now. Oh my God, I just want you to hear some of the testimonies of a person who loves to travel and why we say our opportunity is the sexiest piece of work that's out there. It is the best product that we could ever offer. And at the end of the day, I believe I met some of the best people in my life since I've been in this business. So when we really start understanding, and I know you probably don't feel like I feel right now, but I can tell you literally the thousands of dollars we saved on this trip. You hear me? Only people that really don't understand, when you say it would be very difficult to show this actual opportunity, how many of you have had difficulties sharing this opportunity with people? Being honest. Be very transparent. How many of you have had problems? See, that's sometimes when we don't understand the value of family. We don't understand the value of getting away, relaxing. Am I making sense? When you don't understand the value of being able to save. When you're on vacation, ladies and gentlemen, do you know all of the daggone money you'll spend in a freaking park? It don't stop there when you pay to get in. Do you realize when you're on vacation, there's money that you got to spend for food, things like that, right? But if I can save you a lot of that money on top, it'll make it very easy to do it on the back end. Am I making sense? Come on, Lynn, talk to me.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see it? Can you guys see that?
It's coming up. Okay. $295. Okay. How much did we pay for this room?
$44 a night.
$44 a night. We are now here our second night. So when you take $295 and $295 and put them together, that's almost $600 versus 44, which is $88, which is less than $100. Is anybody catching on to this right now? Is anybody catching on to this?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me. Nobody, everybody sleep. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Those are only the ones that probably had some problems in math. But I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, right now you got individuals that can actually get started for as little as $99 right now. Even if they got to put it on layaway, just instead of, you don't have the 174, and if they got the 100, they got the 174. The people who allow this to go, because let me ask you a question: do people allow their monthly phone bill to go? Do people allow their monthly phone bill to go? No. Why? Because it's a valuable piece of equipment, right? Am I making sense? They won't even think twice about it. So at the end of the day, do you think Lynn would ever allow this opportunity that she has right now to go away? No. Do you think at the end of the day, based on now, Lynn has actually done a lot of traveling before you. Lynn, you had a lot of traveling
Yes, I
before you got involved in this business,
yes.
and you were spending a lot of money
Oh
in
yeah.
your travel because that was important. Is there anybody else that was actually traveling that you saw it was important for your family to take a trip? Do we have anybody that literally took trip? I'm not talking about your job sending you places. I'm talking about somebody who really understands the value that you're actually using this product. Now, Lynn, is there a difference
There's a
before and after you got into this business?
yes.
What are some of the differences? Not the obvious ones, not the obvious differences. What are some of the unobvious that people may not even think of?
Well, I mean, well, a lot of people don't know, as an agent, that when I travel, I mean, that is my business. And since it is my business, I'm writing it off. If you had asked me prior to joining what would be a perk of being a travel agent, and then I probably would have said, oh, I guess you travel for free. And it's not even so much the free. If for me, it's the fact that you can also write it off. The money that you do spend seems inconsequential because you're going to get it back in some way, shape, or form. And for me also, it's the level of travel. Like for example, I don't even look at coming in at the lowest level room. Now I'm automatically looking at a suite. I'm automatically looking to book the suite straight off the
Hmm.
top because I know that at the price that I can travel with, that it makes sense. And why am I going to cut back? Cut back on me. I was already prepared to put some money out. So, I just up my level of travel. So, no, you won't see me in the inside cabin. Not when I can get the balcony cabin for the same price or get it free if I do it the right way. So, that's the, pretty much for me, it's just upping my travel game, or you'll hear me say being able to travel like a rock star. I mean, when I first started traveling, you would have never heard me say, I'm a book a suite. Like, I'll say, I don't need all of that. I just need a bed, and I'm not even going to be in there that long. I don't even look at it that way now. Like, I have to have a suite. That's a must.
Wow, wow. Now let me. I'm gonna be very transparent today. I'm gonna be very transparent. I worked for at least 30 years of my life prior to getting into vacation. And I never used the Schedule C side of a tax form. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? You know what? Anybody just ever used just the short form when they filed their taxes, like your mama them did, your cousin and all of them people? You actually did your own taxes. You really didn't understand the tax system, and many people just wanted their money back because they wanted to get what they thought, that $400, $500, $600, right? And the reason why you did it, because most of us, and I'm gonna just say me, I did not have any tax right. I didn't write anything off on my taxes. Am I making sense, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. So unless you own a property or even children, because if I'm not mistaken, the children are still, or what we call exempts, and those little brats, you could write that off. But that was about the gist of it. And my dependence. Thank you, Mr. Tom. Dependence. But when it came to actual saying, now how much was your trip, your wedding, Lynn?
My wedding also, it was a destination wedding at Sandals in Jamaica. And back then, even back then, I spent close to 5 grand, and that was back in 1997, 98.
Now, would that whole 100% 500 or $5,000, would that have helped your children at any time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Getting that money back at the end of the year, would that have helped anybody's family on here? That a lot of us struggle because of the lack of knowledge of even understanding our tax system. Understanding, like for instance, my God, and I'm gonna just again be transparent. We went to Jamaica. And I went upstairs because Bruce Bailey and his family came on that trip. And the way that I saw his children participating with them, it literally made me go upstairs in my room and I just cried like a baby. You know why? Because I didn't have that. Let me say this. I didn't take that opportunity to do that with my family. I went one place that we actually said that was away, but we never took the opportunity to take them out of the country, do things that they never actually. Is this making sense to anybody? I'm a parent. So I know if there's any other parents that's out there, you would probably have to understand does that make sense to you? I'm gonna talk to Lynn because maybe Lynn will understand what I'm saying.
It makes sense.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If somebody would have taken the time out to really help me understand that, guess what? Do you think my choices would have been the same? That's just a question. Nobody want to talk to me about it, but it's okay. Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, I mean, I agree with you because every time I go on, these trips, I still, even though my children are all grown, I'm always looking forward to the time that they can travel with me now because I didn't take the time to travel when I was in a place where I could. We talk about either there was time or it was money. For me, the money wasn't an issue. It was time. I was so work focused and so corporate minded. Like I cannot take a day off from work. And a lot of cases, I couldn't take time off. I literally could not take time off from the months of June through October, which is prime time to take your kids somewhere because you obviously want to take them when they're out of school. And the particular job that I had, I couldn't do that. So for my children, I give them like maybe a 3-day weekend here or there. I could manage to take 1 or 2 days off, and we went to the parks, and now when I look at being able to take them on a vacation experience, or even to take them on one of the cruises, and I'm looking forward to being able to do that. I didn't take the time to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and I'm done because I can tell y'all not saying nothing. I'll hit somebody's foot. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the same thing with your parents. If you could take your mother on a nice vacation, would you? If you could take your dad on that vacation, would you? If you could take care, like you got to look at this thing so much deeper. And that's when you're actually helping people to understand value. Does that make sense? So with that being said, thank you for taking the time out for the masterclass training. It's time to go have some fun. And I done shedded my 2 tears for the day. Lynn, I'm turning this call back to you. Thank you so much for hosting it. Y'all give it up again one more time for Lynn. I look forward to being back in the States, getting back to work on my dreams and those that I can, at the end of the day, live that magnificent life that we all dream about. It's called freedom, so that we can do those types of things. God bless, take care, take charge, and take control over your life. Because as long as you allow people to control your life, your money, and your health, it's not a good place to be. Miss Lynn, back to you.
Thank you, thank you. And with that said, everyone have a great weekend. I did record this and I will make the recording available a little later today inside of the Creators Club. So everyone have a great weekend. Bye-bye.